was a normal day in Oregon, America. The resident DavKav was hard at work doing God knows what.
I'm looking at boobies!
Right. The day was sound and good until all of a sudden... To his disbelief, the young man-child saw his world being attacked by a stock footage of a monster from a non-specific Japanese movie. This monster's rampage cannot be stopped as he destroys all of America. Destroying our American homes. Destroying our American cities. Destroying our American pagodas. With all of this horror now in front of him, the young DavKav takes to action. With his magic marker that he received from some space guy who will not be mentioned ever. He can transform into a mighty warrior and take on the beast himself. Or, you know, he could just throw it away like a jackass. Now we're all gonna die.
Hey everybody, guess what? It's time for Pop Quiz! No, shut the f*** up and sit down! Okay, here's the first question. Name me 5 superheroes. Chances are that you have named someone from Marvel, DC, other comic companies, or The Tick. And if you chose The Tick at all, man, we cool. But now answer me this. Name me 5 superheroes made in foreign countries. I'm going to assume this was a little tricky to answer. Or, you know, you already answered this question with ease and make me look like an asshole in the process. But for the sake of this video, I'm gonna go with the former. It's not all that surprising since superheroes originate from the United States, but it's kind of interesting that other countries don't have heroes that are at the same notoriety as, well, Spider-Man or Batman. How come all our heroes are based off of animals?
But that doesn't mean there aren't those that are close. And today, we're gonna be looking at a particular country that has a very huge plethora of superheroes under their belt. You know who I'm talking about. We're going back to Japan. Oh, joy.
Welcome to the wonderful world of tokusatsu. Roughly translated to special effects filming, these films and shows are home to many of Japan's finest heroes under the rising sun. Now, you might know some of them from a certain series. But we're not gonna talk about them. But instead, I want to talk about all the greats that the East has to offer. Super Sentai, Metal Heroes, Kamen Rider, and the subject of today's video, Ultraman was created in 1966 by Eiji Tsuburaya of Tsuburaya Productions, who also worked on a certain film series. You might have heard of it, maybe not, seems kind of niche. Ultraman would be a follow-up from their last series known as Ultra Q, which was essentially Japanese Outer Limits. And I'm going to guess the only person who knows what the Outer Limits is my dad, and that makes me sad. This series became very popular in Japan when it first ran, allowing to get sequels, spin-offs, merchandise off the wazoo, and would you believe me that this series is still going on to this day?
I actually got a bit of nostalgia for this series, because when I was young, my uncle just gave me this DVD of the first few episodes out of the blue, so, thanks, Uncle. So, let's get into the root of this entire franchise as we take a look at 1966 Ultraman. Why haven't we cut away yet?
Let's start with the first episode. Ultra Operations Number 1. That's some Japanese shit right there. The episode introduces us to the Science Patrol, a group of individuals tasked to investigate and defend against strange anomalies around the world. On the team is Captain Miramatsu, the highly intelligent leader who looks after everyone on the team. Arashi, the team's tough-as-nails weapons expert. Ida, the team's inventor / comic relief / sexiest man alive. Fuji, the communications officer with the personality of girl. And then there's Shin Hayata, the deputy captain and a man who is just as interesting as plain toast. So of course he's our main character. So Hayata is just flying around the world looking for trouble in the team's superjet when he spots 2 flying balls chasing each other in the sky around the Forest Lake. And then it turns out that one of these glowing balls contains the great cosmic warrior, Ultraman, who responds to the dead human like, I didn't even see you there, oh god, I was just chasing this dude, how'd you even get there, oh god, what am I gonna, fuck it, here, take this, you can wear me as a suit if you want, I don't care, just don't tell the authorities on this one, I can't go to prison, man, my butthole wouldn't even last a second. During this time, the rest of the team investigate what happened to their crewmate when they come across the other glowing orb, which contains the dreadful Bemular. And he... oh! His face! It seems impossible to defeat this thing until Hayata returns from nowhere, saying that he needs to use a sub to attack the monster. 5 minutes of trying to kill this thing, Hayata finally takes the hint to transform into Ultraman.
Having been given the life of the spaceman from Nebula M78, Hayata now uses the beta capsule and becomes that super being, Ultraman.
He looks like a spoon. The two go at it in a giant-sized wrestling match until Ultraman's warning light goes off, signaling that he's almost out of power. Then he just blasts Bemular with his Spacium Ray, yeah, that's what it's called, which destroys the monster for good. Ultraman pimps off back into space, and everything becomes hunky-dory, ending the first episode. This was a good starting episode, and helped set up the basis of how this show is going to play out. Indeed, this is an episodic series. No overarching plotlines that the later seasons use, just stories that begin and end for each episode.
And these episodes are arranged differently. Sometimes you're gonna get a fun little monster destruction action show. And then you're gonna get those episodes that'll make you go, holy shit, this got dark quick!
Yeah, most of the time we're gonna get an easy monster action show that sometimes features everyone's favorite character, Child. Wowee, I sure don't want to hit him over the head with a wiffle bat. But then you'll get some episodes that just hockey checks you with some dour end to their story. Oh no, a monster's existence is linked to some girl. How are we gonna stop this thing? Let the girl die in the snow. Oh look, the kid's drawings came to life and it just sleeps all day. Aw, it's so precious and harmless and the kids love him. Ultraman chucks him into space. Ultraman, what are you doing? This is supposed to be a kid's show! But the episode I want to talk about, in my opinion, is one of the darkest episodes in the series. The episode titled, My Home is Earth. So, the episode starts with a bunch of UN planes that were heading towards a space conference. Get a little, yeah. So it's up to the Space Patrol to figure out what's going on along with this French guy. After many minutes of figuring out, turns out to be a monster. Who'd have thunk? But let me tell you, this monster actually has a backstory, and this is where the story takes a turn. Well, you see, this French guy tells us that the monster's name is Jamila, who was once a human astronaut who took part of the space race for an unknown country. France! However, in a freak accident, the ship went missing, and the world decided to cover up any knowledge of this event in fear that it would destroy any hopes of future space travel. But somehow Jamila managed to survive, while at the same time his body and mind mutated into, well, that. But now he returns to Earth, and is ready to exact his revenge on the people who abandoned him. Which leaves us to a big question. Are they willing to kill this thing? Someone who once was part of them. Someone who was lost in space. Someone who was abandoned and forgotten. Someone who was human. Even Ida, the magnificent beast that he is, actually has a moment where he emotionally breaks down with the thought of killing someone who sacrificed his life and was left forgotten by the world. Sadly, his destruction would not end, and they had to put him down, ending in a scene where he tries to grasp what is left of his humanity. In the end, the team can only do what they can, and all decide to create a placard commemorating for his sacrifice for scientific progress. Here lies a man who was a victim of circumstance and politics, now cemented in honor. And then they make a funny commercial with him. Ha ha, look, he's in a dress, he can't even fit his head in. Isn't that funny? This guy used to be a human!
Well, that was tragic. But let's move on, because I want to talk about, without a doubt, probably the best thing about this show. And I'm not even joking. Despite its age, I really like the special effects.
As we live in an age where we can get away with stuff like this, it always interests me to see the lengths that these filmmakers back in the day went through to convey a certain effect. And Ultraman pulls out all the stops. Pyrotechnics, LEDs, models, hand-drawn animation. They put a lot of effort into this show, and by God do I love it. It's the attention to detail, how they took the time and patience to craft this miniature set for these fight scenes to take place and get destroyed. And they look... okay, they look like models, but hey, they put in the effort, so I'll give them that. Speaking of effort, gotta talk about the suit designs, cause man, these suits have a lot going on with them. Some of them use LEDs, some of them have puppeteering, like in the eyes or mouth, sometimes both. This is the type of stuff that'll be on the levels of films at the time. Yeah, not other shows, films. That should be saying something. But even with all the cool set designs and special effects, I can't really give the same compliments to some of these monster designs because, well...
Hello, and welcome to a new segment on this show where I like to call Judge a Book by Its Cover. Where we look at some of the designs of the weirdest stuff, and we laugh. Today's subject is the original Ultraman show. Let's not waste time, let's dive in, shall we? Yeah!
Someone shrunk Godzilla's head! It's like that scene from Beetlejuice, like, pew, and there you go, it's this guy! Who is this rejected banana splits looking motherfucker? What's with that grin? He looks like he's constantly going, I fucking murdered people. Oh, look at this dude. Look at this ugly dude. I think he's adorable. Just strangely adorable. Also, he sacrificed himself for the team and became an officer in the Science Patrol. He might be my favorite. What is this thing? What is this? I don't even get this thing. What is with the lips? What is with the lips? It's got alternate heads too. What is with the Mill's eyes? They stare right into the soul of things. What is with this face? And why do they still have dick-sucking lips? That is just two dudes. That is just two dudes holding up a monster head. What the fuck? What the goddamn hell is this? Oh! And then we have... wait a minute.
This show doesn't even have the weirdest design monster out there. Get ready for the end of the video. I got something special for you guys.
Well, let's just wrap up this piece by talking about the man of the hour himself, Ultraman. Some notable things about Ultraman is that in the beginning of the show, he kind of looked a bit, ugh. But over time, the design of the suit gradually upgraded itself to the design we know him best today. And yet, he still looks like a spoon. Other notable things is that Ultraman actually fights with Judo, the martial art that uses a bunch of throws and takedowns in order to incapacitate your opponent, and I thought that was really cool. And also his firing pose that he uses a lot is actually based on the Christian cross. Yeah. That thing. Kill them with Jesus, Ultraman! I don't really have much to say except that everything about him feels iconic. From the colors, the suit design, the fighting poses, the attacks, to even the size of the character. I think that's the biggest thing about him. I know I just said a pun. I am so sorry. Yeah, the size, I believe, is the one thing that makes him stand out against every other superhero I know, because, well, he is a giant monster man. And yet, he's a superhero. He fights evildoers. He saves the Earth. And he's a giant. That's his gimmick. That's his thing. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Hell, there's a lot of inspiration from Ultraman. Through different designs, parodies, you name it. Based on his likeness. And like I said in the beginning, yeah, I don't think there's a big enough character outside of the United States that could rival the popularity of Spider-Man. But this design, everything, it's just recognizable. Hell, I think a lot of people can recognize it, even if they don't know the character. The size, the design, the spoon face. Overall, I just think that's really, really cool.
And so's the show. Yeah, it's rough and, you can totally see that it's aged. But if you look past all of that, it's a fun, memorable sci-fi superhero show.
If you're at all interested in Ultraman or even Tokusatsu, I highly recommend seeking this out. It's silly, it's interesting, it's dark at times, and overall, just a good time, man. Just a good time.
But that's the end of this video. If you like what you saw, you can always subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And I'll see you on the next video, which will be on something else. But don't think I forgot about my little promise. The weirdest monster in Toku history. Are you guys ready? No, you're goddamn not, you're not ready. But you better be prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Starfish Hitler! What in the actual fuck?
In a super jet he comes from a billion miles away, from a distant planet land. Come down here.